Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Auscast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Auscast.
Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.
Hello, John Paul.
Leon, hi.
Welcome back to Do It for the Vine, a Vine review and appreciation podcast.
It's good to be back.
It would be a shock if you weren't here, because then we just wouldn't do the show.
Probably not.
Well, I've been looking at some other options.
Okay.
So it's episode 7.
Good energy to start the podcast.
To start today's podcast, you're fine. Episode 7, lucky number 7, lucky for some.
Every number is lucky for some, surely.
Surely no one's lucky number is 3. But it's time to cover a Vine now that the new year is here. First one. Oh, no, not first one for 2019. I think we've already done one. I don't know what day it is anymore.
No, I'm a bit off too.
But it's time to cover what I think is... I feel like I say this every week. I'm like, this is the first Vine I ever saw. I feel like this one is the first Vine I ever saw, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first Vine that I saw, but it was the first time I was like, oh, these Vines are very quotable.
Yeah, this is funny. And it was at that moment that we knew that one day we would have a Vine review and appreciation podcast.
Yep, definitely.
That exact moment. John Paul, the Vine we're talking about is referred to as guys being dudes.
A classic, Leon.
It is a classic that is so classic that I just can't remember what possibly happens within said Vine. So, John Paul, could you please paint me a word picture?
That's not how classics work. But I'll certainly try, Leon. Our scene opens in a stadium, drenched in beautiful sunlight, with green grass and the field, and although it's not explicitly said in the dialogue, a child plays on a lawn somewhere. A man stands in the grandstands, as if cemented to the ground facing the field, and awkwardly turns to the camera. And then, with an non-committal wave of his hand, says, "What's better than this? Guys being dudes." And that's where the Vine ends.
Chills, as always.
It's a great Vine.
It's only 4 seconds. They haven't even pushed it to the full 6 seconds.
I know.
Because they don't need to.
That's what's so brilliant about it. They don't need that much time to get their point across. And what I love about the Vine is thinking about what happened around this Vine. Not necessarily in the 4 seconds that you see, but you hope and pray that the line that guy says is improvised.
Oh, yeah.
You have to believe that there's a guy standing behind him with a camera and just says, "Hey, Derek, say something." And he turns around and says, "Guys being dudes." Because if it's not, there was a couple of people sitting down making this promotional video for the football team of whatever American school this is at, and actually wrote down the words "guys being dudes."
Well, it's funny that you say that because the way that this man moves, which is awkward as all hell, to me gives off the feeling that it is rehearsed, that they're like, all right, Derek, we need to take one more run at it. Take 13. Here we go. What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Yeah. And he was trying to throw in a couple of extra lines. No, Derek, the line is guys being dudes. It's perfect. Just say it.
Guys being dudes, the bibbity boppity. Derek, please, the bibbity boppity has to stop. I told you.
Derek, we're trying to appeal to all communities. Bibbity boppity is simply unacceptable.
This is your crowning moment, Derek. This will put you on the Oscars list if you just get it right.
But Leon, that's such a good point that I hadn't thought about before. Everything else is so like, it's like as if someone stood him in place and like moved his body around, like that old drama game that you used to play in class where you were just the voice and you had a puppeteer that moved you around.
Yes.
He is so rigid and so like being forced to do what he's doing that it can't have been an ad lib. Someone must have told him to say that.
Well, if it was an ad lib, what is the instigating line? Like, what do you say to someone for that to be the answer? If someone sitting behind just goes, "What's better than this?" and Derek's like, "What's better than this?" Guys being dudes. Like,
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I just cannot fathom writing down those words and thinking, "Oh yeah, this is gold. We've got him here."
The thing is that they've somehow managed to get in the brain of every old white man at any kind of sporting game, because I assume that's what they're thinking.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's almost when I like every now and again when I watch it, I'm almost a little bit offended by the line as well.
Oh yeah.
Like this very male-centric guys being dudes idea. It was like, well, I almost have this like irrational reaction to it. I'm like, well, what if guys didn't want to be dudes? What would happen then?
Well, then there'd be nothing better than this. It would just be...
There'd be nothing.
People being people.
Yes.
Yeah, it does have that kind of vibe to it. But look at the man. Like, he's that classic, as I said, old white man that is into the American football. He's got the polo on that's just a bit too tight. He's got hairy arms with a watch on. He's probably got like 3 football rings on each hand. He's probably got a gold chain around his neck.
And the khaki shorts.
Oh,
that's what really tips it off for me. And you have to imagine as well, he's got long white socks that are scrunched down to his ankles and white sneakers on.
Oh, yeah. And he's wearing some tidy whities under there that are quite loose.
You can't see, yeah. What a champ. I mean, I make a lot of assumptions about this man and his beliefs, but, you know, that's what happens when you say the phrase, guys being dudes.
Oh, yeah, I think we're allowed to judge him. If his name's not Derek, it's definitely Brad, but his son's name is Chad.
Chad, yeah.
If he's Derek, I get
a Carl vibe from him.
Oh,
like
maybe.
Not Kyle, Kyle.
No.
But Carl.
Yeah,
that's what I get.
What we would
him.
say Carl, but he would say Carl. Almost Carol.
Probably.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see pretty much. I can see John. I can see Robert. I can see Craig. Like, give me a name and I can see it, because this man is just a conglomeration of all of these kind of men.
The one thing actually about this Vine that I don't like, but something that sort of I think the first time I watched it really helped it land was that somehow I got sort of like an awkward pause out of it, like the way that someone had put a compilation video, or even as it like appears on YouTube when you find it, it just sort of abruptly ends after this line, and there's this pause, and that's what's so good about it, this like sort of awkward pause that happens after it, because it's just so nothing. Like I don't know. It's a weird Vine, but very funny.
I think that again feeds into our idea now that this is completely staged, because this is like an outtake where they're like, all right, Craig, can you just tell us how enjoyable like watching the game is, or how good it has been to coach these boys? And then Craig, they're like, all right, action. And Craig's like, it's better than this, guys being dudes. And they're like, cut off me, like, Craig, come on, man. Like, that's not, we can't post that.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you also have to imagine that they cut this from the final video, because even though the rest of his body is rigid, his hand sort of flaps forward as he's talking. And you have to imagine that the director, given the position that this guy is standing in, the director was like, oh, no. I've put you in the perfect position for this, Craig. Don't move your hand.
Please don't.
You are standing in such a natural position. Please don't move.
I think this scene was cut from Avengers Infinity War, is where it comes from. It has that vibe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you do look closely, you can see, Ultron lining up on the offensive line down on the field.
Reset Ultron, please.
That's right, yeah.
John Paul, on a scale of 1 to Vine being approximately 10 and 1 being a number lower than 2, where would you rate What's Better Than This Guys being dudes?
Look, Leon, it's got to be high because it is just simply a classic Vine. So quotable. I recently went on a fishing trip with my brothers, and you better believe I felt like a guy being a dude.
That's very guy being dude of you.
On a boat, just all 5 of us, because my dad was there too. It was it was a real guys being dudes moment.
Thanks for the invite. That was, that's good.
Well, look, Leon, it was family only.
No. I see. Oh no, that's totally fine.
Not to say that you are not.
No, that's pretty much what you said.
Family there. Or
no. Obviously, I'm not dude enough for the boat trip. It's fine.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be the one to say it. But look, it's got to be up high. Look, I think a 9 out of Vine would be an appropriate score for this Vine.
Well, you've blown me away because that's a shocking score from you. I haven't heard that one across from you before.
Have you?
John Paul,
I feel like that's what I give everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you've voted every Vine that one.
Because they're all good.
Yeah. I would give it a 9, but because of our discussion, I'm going to give it an 8.7 because of the closed-off nature of guys being dudes.
Yeah.
I'm taking a stand, John Paul. Taking a stand against this Vine.
That's good. I'm glad that you're taking a stand on this very popular medium. That's look, I think that's a good point. I'd actually forgotten that we talked about that. And it's a good point. It's a very closed off. Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good score, Leon. I'm with you on that. That's a good score.
Yeah, I've decided I was going to give it an 8.5, but I've decided that we should add in all the points of the scale. 8.75, 8.76. Like, let's every number is a number.
Yeah.
John Paul, that's guys being dudes. And what is better than this is this podcast, I would say. This podcast is better than all Vines because we're pulling the Vines apart, which is how to really enjoy a joke.
And we're remembering the best part of our internet history.
Please don't look at my internet history.
John
Paul, I would like to retract that statement. I would like to...
I'd like you to.
I'd like to delete that like I delete my history. I would like to thank Simon Blackburn for our wonderful cover art.
Certainly.
And in doing so, I'd like to talk about something we talked about in one of the episodes a few weeks ago. We had a bit of time there to name the monster or the alien and the ant in our logo. And after a very frenzied voting situation, we had to recount multiple times. The polls were going wild. The phone was off the hook. It was out of control, which is probably why we had problems.
Yeah.
The monster, John Paul...
Again, are people going to be able to fact-check what you've just said?
Not only because you draw attention to it.
But I feel like the internet, it's very easy to go on the internet and find out that people aren't telling the truth.
People are lazy. For all they know, we get a million.
Okay.
We get a million, not for all they know, we definitely get a million listens a week. We don't need your help. We don't need you. Oh God, do we need you, please?
In that case... I will support what Leon has said, and the phone was just off the hook. I couldn't sleep for 3 days because people just kept ringing about the names of our characters.
Non-stop ringing. So the name of the monster is Wolfgang, a fitting name for any alien. And the ant is Richard.
Oh, what the fuck, Richard?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. What the fuck, Richard?
That's great.
We've got Wolfgang and we've got Dick the Ant.
Yes. That's another Vine we got to do. That's a great one.
Oh yeah, we haven't done that one
sorry.
yet. We talked about that in
Sorry to
our...
bring up another. Yeah, we did talk about it. We haven't. Sorry to bring up another Vine and overshadow guys being dudes. Sorry about that, everyone.
We'll also thank Curtis Fernance for our wonderful theme music.
We will and do thank him.
Those techno beats. And as you always remind me to thank the Auscast Network, because without them we'd be nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be something.
Definitely.
I feel.
All right. Well, no need to brag.
John Paul, last time I screwed up. Our Twitter and our Facebook is For The Vine Pod, with an @ in front of it. Tends to be how that works.
I didn't even catch that. There you go.
But our email is doitforthevinepod@gmail.com. I think last time I said it was something different. So that's the facts, the cold hard facts that I've got in front of me. There's also the YouTube playlist where we put all the vines that we review, and there's a secondary YouTube playlist that I'm slowly updating where it's the episode, so you can even listen to the episode on YouTube. You can watch your Vine and immediately have the episode side by side. It's technology is just, what's better than this? Techno being knowledge.
Yep.
But I think that covers it, John Paul. Anything else from you?
I think it does. I mean, I'm glad we shored up the email account and everything like that. But do try and email us sparingly, because there's no more space left.
No more.
We've had to buy extra space from Google because people just keep emailing us.
I never wanted to pay Google. We had to buy extra phones.
My phone melted.
Too many calls. That's because you got a Samsung. Oh, too soon?
How dare you?
Always say here, John Paul, wherever you are, whatever you do,
do it for the Vine and Samsung.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Auscast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Auscast.
Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.